When you have a major catastrophic event, it takes days, sometimes years, to sort out the facts. And it'll be that way with Waco. It was last year that it happened. Sherlock Holmes said that when you take away the impossible, that which remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. So just like an onion, let's see if we can start peeling it. While there were rumored to have been up to 5 clubs at Twin Peaks that day, there was really only 2 clubs that were significant. And oh, by the way, I refer to bikers as clubs, not gangs. You see, that's how people and groups become demonized. You throw in a word here and there, and those words create what we call mental images. Unless, of course, you're black and you're burning down places like Ferguson or Baltimore. And then there's laws to protect you because if Obama had any sons, they'd look like them. But I digress. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. There's 2 clubs. We have the Banditos and a cuddly little band of merry men known as the Cossacks. The Banditos have been around since Jesus was a corporal, and the Cossacks were relative newcomers on the Texas scene. Now, these guys have rules. They abide by the rules. It's kind of like the Constitution, and they follow it, which puts them head and shoulders above Obama right there. They have territories. They have interests in those territories. Mostly it boils down to this is their state. They don't like people rolling in from places like California and acting like they belong here, but unlike some folks, they will stand up and defend that. There's rules of etiquette, and there's this thing called a rocker that sits below the club emblem on their jacket, and that rocker signifies the club's place of origin. And the rule's real plain. If you're from California, don't put a Texas rocker on your jacket. Most bikers are vets, and patches, medals, ribbons, they mean things. Men fought and died for those things, and they aren't to be taken lightly. This is opposed to letting a bunch of Muslims have prayer day down at the state capitol while we all sit there and wring our pearly white hands and wish they just go away. So honor, loyalty, and respect are important to these men. And here comes the Cossacks rolling into Texas, putting the Texas rocker on their jackets, and just flipping the bird at the Banditos. And they really did that, folks. I've seen the pictures. Now, they didn't all immediately run down the main street and go to slinging blows. Realizing the volatile nature of the situation, they had meetings in places like Twin Peaks to try to find a happy middle ground, but this is where it gets crazy. Let's continue to peel the onion. So we've got all the players in place, and you have 2 rival clubs and the cops. And brothers and sisters, we had some cops. They were all there serving and protecting. Regular cops, state cops, SWAT cops, and a few Fed cops who can't seem to find any problems down the border where the real gangs are, but they sure found Waco. Now, I'm going to tell you from get-go, I don't like Waco. I've been all over Texas, and I can count the times I've stopped in Waco on one hand. I think the FBI and the CIA and the NSA are all a complete waste of money that you could use to just buy a beer with and it'd do more good. But that's just me. Now watch the NSA assign a team to study my last statement and try to figure out what I really meant. So hail, hail, the gang's all here. Twin Peaks is full of bikers and cops behind every bush and on every roof. Oh yeah, they had snipers out there that day serving and protecting us. You pour a little beer on the fire and voila, you get a fist fight. Most amazing thing I ever saw, bikers drinking beer and fighting in a bar. I never saw that coming. Well, as luck would have it, they spilled out in the parking lot. Now, I want you to think about something. All these seasoned bikers, knowing the cops are there, suddenly decide to start shooting. If you believe that, have I got a bridge for you and it's on sale. Actually, I do. There's this old bridge right there in Waco that looks like a miniature version of the Golden Gate. Okay, let's continue with the onion. How many bikers were shot? How many cops were shot? Do the math, connect the dots, and the dots all lead to rooftops, folks. Before it was all over, there was lots of bodies, and I think 172 arrests, all for organized crime. Not one cell phone video to be had. Dude, even ISIS has cell phones. Of course, there was some gumshoe running around saying it was the most horrible crime scene he's seen in his 34 years serving and protecting us. I guess he took the day off and Janet Reno decided to torch that church over there, right? They seal off the entire area so they can sanitize it, and the picture we do have is all these mad dog bikers sitting on a bench arrested. Now we have a blooming onion. And, of course, the spin got going with the authorities claiming the bikers had put a hit on all law enforcement. No cops were shot that day, folks. Don't you think if these bikers were so vicious toward the cops, at least one of them would have at least thrown a beer mug at them? Something? We've all seen this before. David Koresh led his band of crazy fanatics bent on overthrowing the government and marrying little girls. Not one conviction in federal court. The bikers came out of Twin Creeks guns a-blazing. Not one cop got hurt, nor the people in any of the surrounding shops, nor the parking lot adjacent, none of it. Y'all may swat them bees now. What gets me is if the government can amass such a humongous deal against Americans, what's the problem with the border? Just string them snipers along the fence and little girls can play jacks in the Texas sand. Oh, my bad, I'm sorry. Mexicans shoot back.